Okay, so today's class we are looking at solving ratio type equations. So we did look at this a little bit when we were way at the beginning at type 1 equations. We were looking at a few ratio type equations where we had to use cross multiplication to solve. So a ratio type equation is classified as one where there's two fractions, one on either side of the equal sign. So left side, right side, they both contain this fraction. So to solve these equations, we have to use cross multiplication. All right, so we're going to basically, you're going to take the top left and multiply it by the bottom right. So you take top left, multiply it by the bottom right, and we're going to place that on the left side of the equation. And then we're going to take our top right, multiply it by the bottom left, and we'll put that on the right-hand side of the equation. Once we've done that, then we can continue to solve for the variable, just like we have been for the other types of equations. All right, so x times 2, that becomes 2x. And we just put that on the left side of the equation. And equals 2, we're going to multiply the top right by the bottom left. 6 times negative 3, which is negative 18. And now we're left with a type 1 equation. 2x is equal to negative 18. And all we have to do is divide by 2 on both sides, which leaves me with x is equal to negative 9. All right, so for this next example, we're still going to take our top left and we're going to multiply it by the bottom right. The only thing we have to do here is make sure to use brackets. So it's going to look like this when we multiply that. Okay, because this 2 is multiplying everything, all of this. So you do have to use the brackets so it looks like a type 4 equation. Then we put our equal sign and we're going to multiply our top right with the bottom left. 4 times 7, I'm just going to put that here as 28 because 4 times 7 just gives me 28. Okay, so here now we have a bracket. We have the multiplier on the outside, the 2. So that 2 has to multiply everything inside the bracket. All right, so 2 times 3x, that gives me 6x. And then 2 times 5 gives me 10, and it's equal to 28. And now it looks like a type 2 equation. So we're going to subtract 10 on both sides, which gives me 6x is equal to 18. Sorry, I'm going a little crooked here. Divide by 6 on both sides, and that leaves me with x is equal to 3. Okay, so for this example here, you could have reduced this fraction. I'm just going to proceed with cross multiplication, but you could have reduced the fraction there. So I'm going to take my top left, multiply it with the bottom right. So that will look like 8 times 5x plus 2. And then we're going to take our top right, multiply it by the bottom left. That becomes 7 times 7x plus 1. All right, multiply this out. The 8 multiplies everything inside. That becomes 40x plus 16. And here, the 6 is going to multiply everything inside this bracket. That becomes 42x plus 6. And now we're just going to solve like a type 3 equation. So I'm just going to bring the x over to the left side. So I'm going to subtract 42x on both sides. And that leaves me with negative 2x plus 16 is equal to 6. Next, subtract the 16 on both sides. That leaves me with negative 2x is equal to -10. All right, and then I'm going to divide by -2 on both sides. And that leaves me with x is equal to +5, just 5. Okay, so for this question here, because we have these brackets, what we can do is multiply out the brackets first. So we'll multiply the 5 times this 3x multiplied by that 2 here. So we would end up with 15x minus 10. And then we know all of this is being multiplied by the 4. So I'm just going to put the 4 here in front. And then it's equal to here, I'm going to multiply this out, 2 times 3x and 2 times the 5. That gives me 6x plus 10. And it's being multiplied by the 8 with cross multiplication. And now we can work with this. And again, if you reduced in the beginning, then you wouldn't be working with such large numbers, but it's okay if you didn't reduce first as well. 4 times 15x, that gives me 60x minus 40, and that is equal to 48x plus 80. All right, and then now it looks like a type 3 equation, so we can go ahead now and just move things over. We can bring our x to the left side by subtracting on both sides the 48x. So 60 minus 48 leaves me with 12. X minus 40 is equal to 80. And then we're going to keep isolating x, so we're going to bring the 40 over. And then we're left with 12x is equal to 80 plus 40, which is 120. And lastly, we're just going to divide by 12 on both sides. And we're left with x is equal to 10 once you divide. All right, so first equation here, we have 4x minus 6 over 5 is equal to 6. So using cross multiplication, I've just put the 6 over 1 just for cross multiplication. So then 4x minus 6 times 1, that's just 4x minus 6. And then 5 times 6 is 30. All right, and then we'll add 6 on both sides, which leaves me with 4x is equal to 36. Divide by 4 on both sides, and that leaves me with x equals 9. All right, so we're going over the second example here. So I'm going to take my 3 minus x, multiply it by the 2. So we end up with 2 times 3 minus x. And then we're just taking the 2 cross multiply. So we end up with 3 times 2 minus x. It should look like that. All right, so here, multiply 2 times 3, that gives me 6 minus 2x. And then here, 3 times 2, that's 6. And then minus 3x. All right, and then we always move our x to the left-hand side. So I'm going to add 3x and add the 3x there. Okay, so we're left with 6 plus 1x, or just plus x, I'll just put the 1 there, is equal to 6. And then I'm subtracting 6 on both sides. And that leaves me with x, or the 1x, which is equal to 0. All right, so for this last one, you can multiply the brackets out first and then cross multiply, or you can multiply the multiplier, cross multiply it. So that, 1 second. Okay, sorry about that. Okay, so here if we do it that way, we can take the 2 times 7 and you have 14 times the x minus 5. And then it's equal to, we're just taking the 3 and 6. That gives me 18 times the x plus 4. All right, so in this step, I just multiplied the two numbers and left the bracket for the next step. But if you wanted to, you could multiply this out first. You could multiply this out first and then cross multiply. You'll end up with the same answer. So we have here 14x minus 70 is equal to 18x plus 72. All right, and we always move our x over to the left side. So we're going to subtract the 18x on both sides. Okay, and that'll leave me with negative 4x minus 70 is equal to 72. And then we're going to add the 70 to both sides. That leaves me with negative 4x equals to 142. And then divide by negative 4 on both sides. And that leaves me with x is equal to, and I'm just going to put that in my calculator to get my decimal answer, negative 35.5. All right, so the homework today is the 2.5 odds in your modules.